Let me introduce myself. My name is Robert Boreanaz. I'm the current president of the UB Law Alumni Association. I'd like to introduce you and to our head table, but first welcome you all for being here tonight and for us to honor these guests. Eileen Fleischman, our executive director of our Alumni Association, vice dean of the law school, Rich DiGiacomo, and Jeanette Ogden, our award recipient, Judge Tim Franzak, also an award recipient, Frank Clark, another award recipient, and Lori Bloom, who is the vice president this year, our president-elect for next year. Judge Aaron Perodato, an award recipient, and Dean Mikao Matua, our dean of the law school, Harvey Kaminsky, an award recipient, Judge Foote, a presenter and part of our awards committee, and Rich DiGiacomo, I'm sorry, Brian Melber. Rich is over here, also part of our awards committee. Thank you for coming tonight. For over 100 years, our Alumni Association has supported our law school. We have currently approximately 1,200 members in nearly every state of our country, and some overseas as well. I had the opportunity of speaking at the orientation of our incoming law students, and also the privilege of speaking at a mentoring program just this last week. And one of the things that I thought was important to draw to these young law students was the importance of our profession and the collegiality within our profession. And I believe that all of us owe a debt of gratitude to our law school, to the professors that taught us, that nurtured us as young law students, and now we as members of the Alumni Association and guests would like to recognize the award recipients tonight. So I welcome you again, and I'd like to introduce the dean of our law school to make some remarks.
Thank you, Rob. I just want to say at the outset here that, Rob, your presidency of the Alumni Association has been fantastic and wonderful. And I would like us to give Rob a hand. It's a wonderful turnout. I think, you know, from the number of people who have showed up today, it's evident that the love and passion that you have for this law school is just contagious. And I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight for this event. This particular event is, you know, perhaps my most cherished event as Dean of the Law School, because it is the one moment where I get a chance to see many of you in one room, to share a drink and a meal with many of you, and to just engage in light banter. Those are moments which are rare for a Dean of a law school, so I appreciate this moment. We gather every year at this time to honor and celebrate our most accomplished and our most illustrious alumni. These awards signify the pinnacle for UB Law. Being so recognized is a mark of excellence for all the people who are sitting in front of you. This year, just like last year, I must say that I'm in awe of the exceptional and select group of highly accomplished and distinguished honorees who are sitting in front of me today. And I just want to heartily congratulate each and every one of you You make us so proud. And I would ask that we give them a round of applause. I know that you'll be, applauding a lot tonight, so don't get tired. But as we celebrate this evening, allow me to take a few moments to offer a 2-minute reprise or reflection on the state of your law school. First, I want you to know that my determination to make UB Law one of the finest law schools in the country has never been stronger. But as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. In that vein, I want to assure you that by that measure, most of our indexes for academic excellence are on the upswing. In other words, our academic fundamentals, those things that make a law school not just good, but great, are looking up. So now, I want you to allow me to review several key indexes of academic excellence for UB Law. First, the faculty has always been, for me, the cornerstone of a great law school. Our faculty is great and excellent, and I must say that one of my earliest commitments when I became dean was to build on that excellence and greatness of the faculty. In that vein, we are hiring faculty with star potential. Last fall, we hired 4 new faculty, excellent faculty in key areas of need. And this fall, we will be joined by 3 new professors with excellent credentials. And I must let you know that I have an offer out to a visiting professor at UB Law from Berkeley Law School, whom I'm trying to persuade to stay here. And so I want to ask you, if you see her in the streets, say 1 or 2 good things about us so that she can stay here instead of going back to Berkeley, California. If you count the number of law professors that we have hired over the past 2 years, the number comes to 9. And that is a remarkable renaissance in the faculty in the midst of the worst economic crisis in 60 years. I want to emphasize that this is how you build a great law school, by hiring great faculty, and we are doing that. Secondly, we are recruiting a highly qualified class of students while trying to construct a law school that looks and feels like America. In other words, we are committed to excellence in GPAs and LSATs. At the same time, we are committed to the question of access, because we are a public law school for the state of New York. In this respect, I just want to say that our LSAT and GPA scores for our 1L classes have continued to go up, and I want to tell you that over the past 2 years, those scores are the highest that they have ever been in the history of this law school. Number 3, in addition to faculty and students who are excellent, I think you want to create an environment in which students feel comfortable and faculty feel happy to teach in. In this respect, I recognize that O'Brien Hall, where all of you went to law school, is perhaps not the world's marvel of architecture. That is why I have undertaken a process to renovate O'Brien Hall. These renovations will commence sometime this summer, and they will begin on the first floor, where we shall be putting technology in classrooms 106 and 108 of O'Brien Hall. You will remember that when you are in law school, that these classrooms have no technology. You'll also remember that many of our classrooms have no technology. In fact, there's only one classroom that is teched up, and it's in the basement. And the technology in that classroom is not up to date. Whereas everywhere else in the country, law schools have teched up all their classrooms. So this is something that we're going to be doing this summer. In addition, we shall make the first floor handicap accessible, and there will be a reception desk on the first floor with new signage as you enter the law school, so that you can feel that you are entering a professional environment. I believe that these renovations will make the law school more conducive to learning in the 21st century and more livable and become inviting at the same time. Number 4, we have reached out to you for more support, and you have responded generously and with your resources and time. And I want to thank you for that kind of response. But I also want to note that we are a state law school in a state where state support is shrinking. More and more, although we are a public law school, I believe that we must begin to think like a private law school in terms of our financial support base. And that is why all of you are critical to us. Finally, my goal to make UB Law School among the top 50 law schools in the country remains bullish and strong. In spite of news that you may have received recently, my belief that this law school can become a top 50 law school is unshaken. We are putting all the pieces in place, and I believe that the results will begin to reflect the hard work that we have put in this law school. I know that I can continue to count on your support to reach this goal. I want to thank you, and I hope to see you next year. Thank you so much.
Brian Melber, will you please come and Brian Melber is one of our co-chairs of the dinner. Please welcome Brian Melber.
Thank you, Rob. I'd be lucky to change places with Rich DiGiacomo any day, so thanks. It's an honor. The UB Law Alumni Association gratefully acknowledges our law firm patrons, Celino and Barnes, Connors and Villardo, LLP, Damon and Morey, LLP, Harris Beach, PLLC, Hiscock and Barkley, LLP, Hodgson Russ, LLP, Jacob Fleischman and Mugel, LLP, Kavanoki Cook, LLP, the Law Office of Francis M. Litro, Lippes Matthias Wexler Friedman, LLP, Lipsitz Green Chimay Cambria, LLP, Nixon Peabody, LLP, Phillips Lytle, LLP, Rupp, Boz, Fallsgraf, Cunningham, and Coppola, LLC, and Wilder and Linneball, LLP. We also gratefully acknowledge the generosity of the following underwriters who helped make this event possible. Proceeds benefit the activities of the Law Alumni Association. At the platinum level, CTG. At the gold level, M&T Bank, Settlement Professionals Incorporated, and Thomson Reuters. At the silver level, Jack W. Hunt and Associates Inc., and National Fuel. At the bronze level, the Bar Association of Erie County, and at the donor level, Batavia Legal Printing, D4 LLC, Icon Office Solutions Inc., the Law Office of Lindy Korn, the Minority Bar Association of Western New York, Nesper, Ferber, and DiGiacomo LLP, Nussbaumer and Clark Inc., R.L. Sonnenberger Land Surveyors, Stephen J. Baum PC, Tycor Title Insurance Co., the UB Alumni Association Inc., and the Western New York chapter of the Women's Bar Association of New York. And finally, our media sponsors, the Daily Record and the Buffalo Law Journal. Thank you all.
Thanks, Brian. And again, we really appreciate the sponsors stepping up to the plate and helping us with tonight's event. Along with Brian Melber, Lisa Allen are the dinner chair people of this event. On the committee is Tom Cunningham, Rich DiGiacomo, Tom Frederick, Jim Grable, and Brian Gwitt. So I'd like to thank the dinner committee. Thank you. Also like to thank our executive director, Eileen Fleischman, who has an absolutely marvelous staff that I've had the pleasure of working with for several years. Assistant Director Lisa Mueller, who is also the Gold Group Director. Pat Warrington, who is the Assistant Director for Reunions. Amy Atkinson, Administrative Assistant. Amy Hypnorowski, who is our Alumni Database Manager, and Cynthia Watts. Can those of you who are here from the alumni staff stand up or just wave, and we'd like to thank you for all the hard work you do. Also, on the waving format as opposed to the standing format, all the officers and current directors of the Alumni Association and the Gold Group, please raise your hand so that we can all recognize your volunteer work. We do appreciate this is a volunteer organization. Raise your hands, everybody. Thank you. Our new directors for the upcoming year, Alan Bozer, Sally Brode, John Brine, Joe Delvecchio, Mary Fleming, Bill Gernston, and Jeff Farina. Thank you for the incoming directors. Gold Group. Those of you who don't know what the Gold Group are, these are recent graduates within the last decade. An absolutely marvelous chapter of our Alumni Association. A lot of super events that they put on, social events and CLE. So if you do get any notice for any of those Gold Groups, it's a lot of fun and a great event usually. We welcome the new Gold Group directors for the incoming year, Joshua Tubbs, Kevin Espinoza, Jennifer Farrell, Jeff Vute, Ryan Parisi, and Laura Wagner. Thank you for the new Gold Group members. We are celebrating a couple of anniversaries this year. We have the class of 1950, who is celebrating 60 years, and our class of 1960, who are celebrating their 50-year anniversary of graduation from the law school. If you look in your program, we have a full list of those classes. I'm sure you might recognize some names and have fun perusing through that list. All of those people will be receiving certificates from the association to recognize their milestone. Now, I want to change gears a little bit, and we had an individual that joined the UB Law faculty in 1967, and he passed away on December 19th, 2009. This individual frequently described as a mentor, a professor, a leader, a teacher, a visionary, unselfish, tenacious, dedicated, a friend, a father, and a husband. Of course, I speak of Bill Greiner, and we welcome his family that joins us tonight. They are Carol, his wife, daughter Susan, and sons Terry and Daniel. And for a brief moment, we're going to view a video tribute of our friend, of our colleague, of our mentor, Bill Greiner.
This is an extraordinary university. Our law school and its alumni have been extraordinary supporters, not only for the work the law alumni do in representing the people of around the nation and around the world. I think of our profession as a public profession that has as one of its core values public service, and I think our law alumni do that superbly well.
Bill was a major driver of the interdisciplinary reach that has marked UB Law School apart from all most others, and still does. A law school looking outward, a law school without intellectual boundaries. That experience and commitment shaped his encouragement of interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary work throughout the university when he became provost and then later president. Bill had a vision for UB. A single theme could not capture it. It aimed at advancing all of UB's complex and multiple missions, piece by piece, opportunity by opportunity. To accomplish this, he was a master at strategic thinking, as well as tactical organization. That was his genius. Buffalo and UB were part of his being. Buffalo was to him Meriden writ large, full of hardworking, able, good people capable of shaping a better future for themselves and others. UB was a fine university with large and realizable aspirations, and importantly, without pretensions. Bill was without pretension himself, which is what made him so special as a president, a leader, a teacher, colleague, a person, and a friend.
I am but one of countless UB Law students whose career has been made possible by him. He had a genuine interest and concern for each and every student as professor, provost, and president. He considered students the lifeblood of the university and thought of us as family. What was there that brought him to Buffalo on a career path in public education, educating and mentoring ordinary kids like me from ordinary families of little or no means, but long on hope and big dreams that through hard work and through somebody's help someday, one of us could enter the ranks of the legal profession. Bill Greiner was that somebody for me and for a lot of students. He understood the value of public education to families like mine. He understood that law students like me from working class families needed a professional role model, for which he served as such for countless students. He was aware that very few of us, if any, had a lawyer or a judge in our families to emulate, let alone a lawyer or a judge living next door or in our neighborhood. By default and design, he mentored countless public education students who looked to him as professor, tutor, advocate, authority figure, friend, and life coach. Some of us needed and received from him all of that and much more. We can honor him best in his memory as former students and colleagues by bringing to the courtrooms, boardrooms, and classrooms the humanity and civility that our beloved professor, colleague, and mentor epitomized during his 40-some years of service to this great university.
I know hundreds and hundreds of law students that I had the privilege to work with when I was active in the law school. And they have made me proud. They've gone on to be successful practitioners. They've gone on to great success in business. They've gone on to be judges and administrators, public administrators. I think the law school of this university has made a signal contribution to the development of this region and this state. And I take great pride in that, and I thank you for it. It's a point of pride of the law school alumni to give this award that you would consider giving it to me. I consider a very, very signal honor, and I'll accept the proposition that you lead and lower the admission standards here, but at least it's at the level of a good case
now, and we'll get to the awards ceremony shortly thereafter. Thank you. We're going to get going on the awards presentation. I hope you enjoyed dinner. I want to bring to the podium President-elect Lori Bloom to make some remarks about our membership and to get the awards rolling. Lori Bloom.
Thank you and welcome everyone. Before we get started with the awards ceremony, I would like to urge everyone who is not already a member of the UB Law Alumni Association to join. And if you look around, anyone who's got a star on their name tag is a paid member of the of the Law Alumni Association. And we would encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to please send in your membership. You should have gotten it in the mail, but if not, please visit our website or give a call to the alumni office and they'd be happy to send you out a bill. And just in case you've forgotten, it's a true bargain. It's $35 if you're in the classes of 2006 to 2009, and if you're a older graduate than that, it's $60 a year. And for a brief time, we have a offer of $1,000 for a lifetime membership. And that price is going to be going up soon, so this is a good time to join for the rest of your life for $1,000. And there are all sorts of benefits to membership aside from the annual dinner. There are CLEs, there are chapters. If you're not from the Buffalo area, we have a DC chapter, we have a Rochester chapter, an Albany chapter, a New York City chapter, and we're looking to add chapters all the time. So please, if you're not a member, please consider becoming a member. And that ends our commercial announcements. And moving on to the main purpose that we're here this evening, and that is to present the various awards that the UB Law Alumni Association bestows on an annual basis. The awards were established in 1963, and they recognize the valuable contributions of the law school alumni, and in one instance, a non-alumni, that have been made by these people to our profession and to our legal community. Without any slight to the award recipients, they will not be giving any acceptance speeches tonight, but their acceptance speeches are, Judge O'Donnell is clapping, their acceptance speeches and their remarks are printed in the program, so in lieu of hearing from the award recipients who will receive their awards tonight, please refer to the program where their comments are included. And we're going to begin tonight with the Judiciary Award, and this year that award is presented to the Honorable Aaron Perodato. And I have the distinct pleasure of presenting that award. I, and probably most of us in this room, have known Justice Perodato since she was simply Erin. I first got to know Erin in law school back in the Middle Ages. She was a year behind me at the law school, but Justice Perodato has been out in front in every aspect of her legal career since that time. And while she has certainly held her share of respected and honorable positions in the legal community, she has never lost her approachability, her friendliness, or her amazing sense of humor. Justice Perodato has been leaving her mark on the world from an early age. She was a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of SUNY at Buffalo undergraduate, where she earned her Bachelor of Arts degree, magna cum laude, in 1981. She then continued at the State University of New York at Buffalo Law School, obtaining her JD and making many lifelong friendships in 1984. She entered private practice and became a well-known and well-respected litigator, practicing with Dempsey & Dempsey and O'Shea Reynolds. She was elected president of the Erie County Bar Association in 1997 at the tender age of 37, possibly the youngest Bar Association president the Erie County Bar has had in its history, and only its second female president. That same year, she became the New York State Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Buffalo Regional Office, supervising over 20 attorneys and 30 support staff. She was elected to the Supreme Court in 2003, and a few short years later, we lost a great trial judge, but gained a great appellate court judge when she was appointed by Governor Pataki to the Appellate Division, 4th Department in 2006. She has been a frequent speaker at CLE programs and has served on numerous boards and committees, including as a director of our own UB Law Alumni Association. In her spare time, which apparently means that she does not sleep, she is known to hit the links and play a little golf. She is also 1/4 of the famous singing group, the Acapellants, who have a little surprise musical tribute. So I'm going to turn it over to the Acapellants at this point.
For those of you who have seen us perform over the last 16 plus years, you'll know we're missing someone right here, right in this spot. We're missing our esteemed colleague and honoree's vocals this evening, but we are singing 2 very brief tunes in her voice as an appellate division justice. So with that in mind, bear with us. We practiced this for the first time last night.
Give me the facts to build a case on, and my imagination will help me make that case. Give me, for win or lose or draw, the facts to build a case on. Maybe the other 4 will join me, a true collaboration, unanimous in tone. Or maybe I'll go it all alone, with facts to build a case on. I'm the type of judge who never settled down. Where the challenges are, well, you know that I'm around. I read them and I write them, and maybe you'll agree. Solicitor General Kane's got nothing on me, 'cause I'm a ponderer, no sua sponsorer. I write it down, sometimes profound, even renowned. Well, there's Sam on my left, and then there's Nancy on my right, and Jerry is the guy I'll be dissenting from tonight. We're on the trial court, and Aaron up a storm. I'll throw down my gavel, you'll know that Aaron's on the 4th, as I'm a ponderer, no sua sponsorer. I write it down, sometimes profound, even renowned, 'cause I'm a ponderer, no sua sponsorer. I write it down, sometimes profound, even renowned. I wonder if, with a little bit of Virgin and maybe a little bit of Jersey Boys, we can get the distinguished justice to join us. Why don't you go just doing background vocals because she has not rehearsed with us.
And I've also had a couple lessons on.
She knows this song as well as she knows the CPLR.
This might take you back to your trial judge years from the perspective of the jury.
Longest for the longest time. Longest for the longest you've been playing games at our expense and insulting our intelligence. Now what can we do? We've grown so tired after you have kept us waiting for the longest time. Don't you think we've heard your every word? We think that your case is so absurd. You're taking chances. Can't you read our glances? We're sick of listening for the longest time. You won't ask us to keep an open mind. You said to the group, you can't be too kind. But we're sick and tired of this pace. A genuine case. Is that too much to hold for? Charges were incomprehensible. The jury sheet was indefensible. You'll get your verdict, but before you burn it, we will keep you waiting for the longest time. Longest for the longest time. Longest for the longest time. Longest for the longest time.
Oh, my God. For her conscientious and diligent and melodic performance in the judiciary, we present this year's award to Judge Perodato. Thank you so much. I would now like to call on Dean Macau Matua, who will present the award for private practice.
Well, thank you very much. I can assure you that I'm not going to sing. It is my pleasure, my distinct pleasure, to present the award for private practice to Roger Jones, a highly accomplished lawyer and an exceptionally fine person. Roger's commitment to his clients is exemplary, which is why he cannot be with us today. He has a deadline to meet, and I think we all understand that, on a major case which has kept him working extremely hard and long in Chicago, which prevents him from being with us tonight. But I want to say that Roger's climb up the ladder of success was unusual, although it is a classic American success story. Roger grew up in a blue-collar family in South Buffalo. He and his high school sweetheart, Karen, married while they were still teens, and both worked hard so that he could receive a college education. Over a period of 11 years, Roger obtained 3 degrees culminating in a PhD in legal and constitutional history in 1979. Unfortunately for him, his timing was bad, since there were no jobs for history professors at that particular point. So he could not get employed. Once he realized that, he thought about his future, and law seemed to be the logical next step. And so Roger, who is an extremely bright individual, took the LSAT, and note this, scored a perfect score. Perfect on the LSAT. Applied to UB Law, and of course UB Law accepted him. But he somehow managed to convince his wife that a few more years of poverty would be worthwhile as an investment. And so he pleaded with her to allow him to enroll in law school. And so he did. He worked long hours while he was in law school, and usually took a 2-hour cat nap in his car before classes began. Despite a very heavy workload, Roger finished his legal education in 2.5 years. And get this, was first in his class. He was offered a fellowship at Harvard, which he declined, to begin his career at Phillips Lytle. And Phillips Lytle should feel proud that they got Roger Jones. Roger greatly appreciated his experience at Phillips Lytle, and I believe that he learned a lot at that firm. However, his reputation for excellence had spread, and he was hounded, and remained hounded, by headhunters who promised him a high-paying job or high-paying jobs in different cities all over the country. Eventually, he settled for Chicago in the law firm of Meyer Brown, where he played a key role in developing their tax litigation department into one of the best in the nation. He was there for 18 years, after which he moved to Latham & Watkins, a 2,000 attorney firm, which had offices in 24 countries, and which has and had an exceptional international tax practice. Today, in that firm, Latham & Watkins, Roger represents major companies such as Nestle, the Limited, the Hyatt, Comcast, Bausch & Lomb, and Kroger's supermarkets, in cases in which the tax liability in question is frequently in excess of $500 million. Roger has set new precedents at the highest courts in the land on a number of cases, and he has played a key role in shaping tax law and policy in many situations. Chambers USA, which is a major publication, wrote that Roger's, in quote, significant success in tax cases places him among the elite lawyers nationally in presenting tax arguments. But despite his enormous success, and you just have to go to his office in Chicago to see the physicality of his success. I was there with Alan Carroll just this year. Despite this success, he has remained a down-to-earth person who is well-grounded, and he has maintained his values, his warmth, and his sense of humor that he got from South Buffalo. He's a co-founder with his wife Karen of a large therapeutic equestrian organization whose clients are referred by physicians and consists primarily of youngsters with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and other disabling illnesses. He's also actively involved with Mercy Home for Boys and Link Unlimited, organizations which help disadvantaged children get the stability, the structure, and the education they need to thrive. Roger, in addition to being a successful practitioner, has also been an academic as a tax professor for 11 years. In addition to that, he's also been a very supportive member of the Dean's Advisory Council. And I know this firsthand because he has provided me with very wise counsel over the years. He and Karen supported faculty scholarship by funding the Roger and Karen Jones Faculty Scholars, which are held by Professor Schlegel, Robert Stanfield, and Rebecca French at the law school. And if the professors are here, I would like them to at least raise their hands or at least stand up to be acknowledged. Are they here? Okay, thank you very much. Roger has been honored by legal organizations across the country and throughout the world. We are proud, and I'm very proud myself, to claim him as one of our own. And I'm pleased to present the Distinguished Alumnus Award for Private Practice to Roger Jones. Thank you, sir.
Unfortunately, Mr. Jones was not able to be with us this evening due to duty calls, but we will get his award to him. Next, I would like to call on Lenora Foote-Beavers, who will present our award for the community service.
Good evening, everyone. It is such an honor and a pleasure to present the next award recipient to all of you, my mentor, the incredible Judge E. Jeanette Ogden. Judge Ogden was the first judge I met immediately following my first year of law school. I obtained a summer clerkship at Buffalo City Court, and my first day on the job, I observed Judge Ogden on the bench. I thought to myself, wow, this is an amazing woman, and I didn't know anything about her yet. She immediately struck me with her no-nonsense style, but yet compassionate handling of every case. Of course, in typical Judge Ogden fashion, she was the first to give me a research assignment, the most difficult assignment I'd ever tackled. I thought to myself, why is this woman trying to torture me? She immediately became my mentor and took me under her wing to show me the ropes of the legal profession. How grateful I am of that experience, because she let me know right away that striving for excellence is really the only option in life, and not to let mediocrity slip in the way. And really, isn't that exactly what Judge Ogden represents? Everything about her and everything she participates in, she strives and achieves excellence. We all know her professional journey, starting out as a trial attorney at Cigna Insurance, then moving on to the District Attorney's Office, then later joining the New York State Attorney General's Office, and of course her appointment, election, and re-election to the City Court bench. She has served or currently serves on numerous boards, including the United Way Board of Directors, the Advisory Committee on Judicial Ethics, the Erie Community College Board of Trustees, the Girl Scouts of America Board of Directors, Legal Services for the Elderly and Disabled, the Sheehan Memorial Hospital Board of Directors, and many, many more. But those of us in the legal community do not hear enough about Judge Ogden's incredible commitment and dedication to the city of Buffalo and the community as a whole. For example, do you know that in 1978, Judge Ogden was a statewide lobbyist on behalf of Buffalo State to lobby funds for the EOC program? That she also mentors high school students, not just by sending an email or taking them to lunch, but taking them to a play or the art gallery, exposing them to experiences like tours of the Underground Railroad, the Holding Center, and the Central Police Services Lab. requiring them not to only observe courtroom proceedings, but to also keep a journal and complete various assignments to help them improve their writing skills while also reflecting on the courtroom experiences. So she's still torturing students like she did to me. Do you know that her first job after graduating from Buff State was with the City of Buffalo Division of Youth as a youth counselor? Her second job was working for Governor Hugh Carey at the New York State Office of Urban Affairs as a constituent complaint representative. Do you know that Judge Ogden would allow at-risk youth to live with her for 6 months or a year until they were able to get their lives on the right track and live on their own? Judge Ogden has also done pro bono work for various churches, community organizations, and not-for-profit agencies, such as the Langston Hughes Center, the Buffalo Urban League, Women for Human Rights and Dignity, 1490 Jefferson Enterprises, and the Buffalo Federation of Neighborhoods Corporation, just to name a few. Do you know she goes back to her childhood roots of the Perry Projects and works with senior citizens and youth? Do you know she has served on the Nurses Guild at her church for over 20 years? And that she is one of the founding members of the Minority Bar Association Foundation and has served as president of the Women Lawyers of Western New York, the Minority Bar Association of Western New York, and the UB Law Alumni Board of Directors, a board she has been a member of for over 10 years. Most recently, Judge Ogden has been appointed a vice chair of the Gender and Fairness Committee for the 8th Judicial District. She has also received an A-Star Fellowship for the Office of Court Administration Judicial Institute, where she would be trained to teach other judges about the impact of science and technology on the courts. Judge Ogden is the recipient of over 30 awards and numerous certificates and citations since graduating from law school. These are just a few examples of the hours of community service and the countless acts of kindness Judge Ogden shows every day. When coupled with her amazing reputation on the bench, the fact that she is the mother of 5 children, 2 of whom are stepchildren, and 11 grandchildren, it is nothing short of miraculous that she is able to keep everything in her calendar straight and still perform at the highest level. In all, I know everyone agrees that Judge Ogden is a classy lady who has her own unique style, sophistication, and a magnetic personality that draws people to her everywhere she goes. She is most deserving of the Community Service Award, as she has certainly enhanced the image and reputation of the legal profession within our community. Her countless hours of service to charitable and community organizations is remarkable. When I first started as a support magistrate, many people called me Judge Ogden Jr. Whenever I hear this, I can only hope that I can walk in her footsteps and inspire and challenge people to serve our communities and dedicate our time and talents to help improve the neighborhoods in which we live and work. Judge Ogden has shown those of us in the legal profession that we must remember that our focus should always be to assist others and utilize our legal minds to make a positive impact on the lives of individuals who are less fortunate and disadvantaged in our society. I know Judge Ogden credits her faith in God and her incredibly supportive family for much of her success. But on behalf of those of us who lean on her for her support, guidance, and friendship, we say thank you for not only leading the way, but lending us a hand in reaching our own goals and accomplishments, and not just telling us, but truly showing us what community service is really all about. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the recipient of the Community Service Award, the Honorable E. Jeanette Ogden.
I'd like to call on Rob Boreanaz, who will present the award for public service.
Now, the award for public service this year goes to Frank Clark. Frank was born on November 6, 1942 in Brooklyn, New York. And he moved to Buffalo in 1950, and for the life of me, I have no idea why he still has a Brooklyn accent. His father, Frank Clark, was an automobile salesman, and his mother was a retail sales clerk. Sadly, both are deceased. Frank has one sister, Mary Lou Clark, who is an attorney at the Erie County Circuit Court, and Frank has a wife of 37 plus years, Catherine Kennedy Clark, a retired Buffalo school teacher. Frank attended Canisius High School and in 1964 received a bachelor's degree from Niagara University. He received his law degree from UB in 1967, and shortly after graduating from law school, Frank joined the United States Marine Corps. He served in combat in Vietnam, and in 1971 he was honorably discharged with the rank of captain. From 1971 through 1979, Frank was an assistant Erie County District Attorney under then Ed Cosgrove, right? And First Assistant Joe McCarthy, who's here tonight. Frank was a lead prosecutor for the Richard Long case. I don't know if any of you might remember that case. Certainly for a young lawyer at that time, a high-profile case with some really stellar lawyers and a very challenging judge running that case, but Frank tackled that with great class and professionalism. In late 1979, he joined the law firm of Moot Sprague, where he remained for 4 years trying cases in both state and federal court. He returned to public service as an assistant United States attorney in 1983, where he stayed for 5 years, formulated and implemented the Organized Crime Drug Task Force for the Western District of New York. In 1988, he was tapped by then Erie County District Attorney Kevin Dillon to act as his first assistant in the district attorney, a position he held for over 8 years. Just a few months into office, he successfully tried a homicide case involving a couple of priests that were killed, Father Bissonnette, and what was the other priest's name? Do you remember?
Yes, Monsignor Hurley.
Monsignor Hurley. You might remember those names as well. In September of 1996, Frank Clark was elected to his first term as Erie County District Attorney. In 2000 and again in 2004, he was re-elected with the endorsement of all 5 local political parties. He served until the end of 2008. And not to be outdone by our colleagues Ross Salino and Steve Barnes, you may have actually seen Frank Clark on TV once in a while. Frank certainly actually had an incredible reputation in the district attorney's office for mentoring young lawyers. He typically had a bowl of popcorn on his desk as he gave out advice and direction to young lawyers. And Frank's commitment to public service is well documented and recognized over the years. He's been a prosecutor for 33 years. He's been active and recognized by many organizations such as the District Attorneys Association of the State of New York, New York Prosecutors Training Institute, the FBI Academy, New York State Probation Task Force, the 8th Judicial Advisory Committee on Minorities, the Greater Niagara Frontier Council of Boy Scouts, Canisius High School, Buffalo State, Niagara University. And I just want to note in Frank's resume, in his civic duty, he's got a long list of things that he lists as his civic duties that he's performed over the years. On the very top of that list is the Dean's Advisory Council of UB Law. I know Frank cherishes that role, and we certainly cherish his role in the law school and his public service. And for that reason, we'd like to recognize him for public service, Frank Clark.
I would now like to call on Rich DiGiacomo to present the award for outstanding commitment to business.
Thanks. Good evening. I'm Rich DiGiacomo, one of the vice presidents of the UB Law Alumni Association. I'm pleased to present the 2010 Business Achievements Award for his exemplary performance in business to Harvey L. Kaminsky, a UB Law graduate of 1977. Harvey and I were in law school together, And tonight we were discussing the early days when the law school building was new and the law school was one of the only departments at the North Campus. We now realize that after 35 years of wear and tear, the building needed renovation. Some of the significant problem areas were the major classrooms on the first floor. Harvey and his wife Helene, a physician who's always been supportive of Harvey's endeavors to help the law school, made a significant gift to the law school for such renovations. Due to Harvey and Helene's generous financial support, one of the large classrooms on the first floor was renovated, and the classroom is now a place where students can learn in comfort in a room with state-of-the-art technology. After law school, Harvey began to practice law in Buffalo with the firm of Cohen Suedos. He then moved to New York City, where he practiced bankruptcy-related law. Harvey is one of those rare individuals who was able to take his legal training and turn it into a successful business, as he now heads Prestige Capital Corp in New Jersey, a finance company dealing with asset-based lending, factoring, and accounts receivable purchasing. Harvey uses both his business and his legal background, since his company documents the business deals themselves. Harvey points out that his legal background is critical to what he does for a living. Our law school has benefited not only from Harvey's generosity, but also from his time and his voice. He has served on the Dean's Advisory Council. He has helped our students by teaching the law school's highly successful New York City program in international finance and law. And he regularly helps UB Law students in their job searching by providing strategy, networking, and assisting them in interviewing skills. I found a speech in 2008 by our Dean, Macau Matua. And our Dean said, in referring to what the law school needs from all of us as alums, and I hope I quote you right, we need people who care, who will learn about our curriculum, programs, and faculty, who will provide advice and share ideas, who will be ambassadors, who will mentor our students, open doors for them, and hire them, who will help us make inroads where we could not otherwise go, and who will provide the financial assistance we need. I can think of no one who fits Dean Matua's description of what our law school needs any better than Harvey Kaminsky. Therefore, it's an honor for me, on behalf of the Law Alumni Association, to award Harvey the 2010 Business Achievements Award, since he's certainly one of our finest and most accomplished alumni. Harvey, congratulations.
And last but certainly not least, I'd like to call on Brian Melber, who will present the award for service to the university, to the law school, and the community by a non-alumnus.
Thank you. The award for service to the university and to the community by a non-alumnus is presented to a most deserving recipient, Judge Thomas P. Tim Franzak. This award recognizes an individual who has shown strong leadership, who is highly respected in the community, and who has demonstrated devoted service by giving time and assistance to the law school community. As an assistant district attorney in Erie County, Judge Franzak distinguished himself as a skilled trial attorney and as a leader, serving as a felony trial prosecutor and as chief of the Special Investigations Bureau. He prosecuted a number of significant trials, including the People v. Edward Beaufort Kuttner, where he was matched toe-to-toe for several weeks against the formidable John Condon. Judge Franzak's handling in that trial earned him John Condon's lasting respect and lifelong friendship. Now a judge for more than 13 years, first in Buffalo City Court and then in Erie County Court, Judge Franzak will be recognized later this year by the Bar Association of Erie County with its Outstanding Jurist Award. But tonight, it's our turn to honor him for the very special contribution he has made to UB Law, in particular to the education of law students in trial advocacy. Because of Judge Franzak's extraordinary service to the law school, a generation of UB Law students has had the opportunity to learn through practical, hands-on experience in courtroom competition how to prepare for and try a case. Judge Franzak's service to the law school traces its roots, however, to his own experience in law school as a law student in another law school located in New York State. There, the future judge was trained in trial advocacy by Travis Lewin, and he and his teammates were regional champions of the national trial competition. So it was a natural in 1994 when Judge Franzak began coaching law students from UB Law for that same competition. Working with renowned Buffalo trial lawyer Bob Murphy, Judge Franzak nurtured a fledgling program which at the time consisted of a handful of volunteer coaches who prepared one team of law students per year for the national trial competition. 16 years later, due in large part to Judge Franzak's leadership, UB Law is now represented by student teams in 8 separate trial competitions annually and offers that intensive trial competition training to between 30 and 40 law students each year. In 2004, Judge Franzak was singularly responsible for founding the Buffalo Niagara Invitational Mock Trial Competition, which in 6 years has become the largest, and many say the best, trial competition in the nation. This is UB's home competition and now includes invited teams from 32 law schools from around the country. This past year, Professor Charles Ewing selected Judge Franzak to co-chair the newly formed Trial Advocacy Program at UB Law, which now joins trial technique classes and trial competition teams in a single unified educational endeavor. In the words of Judge Franzak, the aspiration of that program is that all of our students receive the best possible training to become effective and ethical trial lawyers. And ethical. Under Judge Franzak's leadership, the UB Trial Advocacy Program focuses not only on effectiveness, but gives an equal emphasis to ethics and civility. In this fashion, the program and the students become a reflection of Judge Franzak himself. Thanks to his tireless effort, UB students are taught the skills and techniques of trial practice as well as the paramount values of civility and ethics. So, for his outstanding service to UB Law, please join me in recognizing a non-alumnus, but definitely one of us now, Judge Tim Franzak.
Well, that's the award portion of the program. I want to thank the Greiner family for being our guest tonight, and thank you for the contributions of your dear husband and father. I want to thank the staff that served us tonight, and with one last warm round of applause for our award recipients, I'm going to say goodnight and drive carefully. Congratulations.